The Shangri-La Hotel's grand ballroom buzzed with tension, its crystal chandeliers casting a sharp glow over a sea of diplomats and military officials. The air was thick with anticipation, every conversation hushed, every glance measured. As the annual security dialogue unfolded, the stakes felt higher than ever before. This was not just another meeting. It was a gathering where the future of an entire region could be shaped by a single word or gesture. It was July 11, 2025. Defense ministers, military officials, and diplomats from across the Asia-Pacific region filled the hall, their attention fixed on the simmering tensions in the South China Sea. The flags of a dozen nations stood as silent witnesses to the gravity of the moment. Speeches were precise, every word weighed to project strength without sparking conflict. Each statement was carefully crafted, designed to reassure allies while sending subtle warnings to rivals. Yet, beneath the diplomatic choreography, anxiety simmered. Southeast Asian delegates caught in a geopolitical tug-of-war. Their faces betrayed concern, knowing their countries stood on the front lines of great power competition. The official agenda, freedom of navigation, international law, felt distant from the daily friction at sea. For many, these were not just abstract principles, but matters of national survival and sovereignty. Suddenly, a ripple of whispers swept the room, breaking the careful calm. Delegates leaned toward each other, eyes wide with surprise and uncertainty. Aides leaned in, phones lit up, and a rumor spread. Japan was about to transfer 6 warships to the Philippines. The news raced from table to table, carried on urgent whispers and glowing screens. The energy shifted instantly. Conversations grew urgent, the diplomatic facade cracking as officials scrambled to understand the implications. The room, moments ago so controlled, now buzzed with speculation and alarm. This was no ordinary news, it was a geopolitical bombshell. The transfer of warships could tip the balance of power, sending shockwaves through the region and beyond. Delegates scrambled for details. Was it true? What ships? What did it mean for the fragile peace? Questions flew as officials sought confirmation, their minds racing through possible scenarios. For a moment, scripted speeches faded, replaced by the raw reality of shifting alliances. The summit's carefully planned agenda was suddenly irrelevant, overtaken by the urgency of the moment. The summit's focus was transformed in an instant. All eyes turned to the breaking news, as delegates recalibrated their strategies and alliances on the fly. A single, unconfirmed report had done what hours of debate could not. It changed the entire conversation. The official agenda was pushed aside, replaced by urgent questions about security, trust, and the future of the region. The stage was set for a dramatic new chapter in the region's history. Every delegate knew that what happened next could reshape Asia's security order for years to come. The world was watching as Asia's security order teetered on the edge of change. Outside, cameras rolled and headlines flashed, capturing a moment when rumor became reality, and history hung in the balance. The rumor was confirmed within the hour. Newsrooms across Asia buzzed with anticipation as the story broke, and the world watched closely, sensing that something significant was unfolding. In a packed briefing room, the Japanese and Philippine defense ministers stood side by side, their faces solemn but determined. The air was thick with expectation as cameras flashed and reporters jostled for position, eager to capture every word. Japan's minister announced 6 maritime self-defense force destroyers would be transferred to the Philippine Navy. The announcement was met with a wave of surprise and cautious optimism, as few had anticipated such a bold move. This, he said, was the foundation of a new strategic partnership, anchored in shared values and a vision for a free Indo-Pacific. He emphasized that this partnership was not just about military hardware, but about a shared commitment to peace, stability, and mutual respect in the region. The Philippine minister called it a game changer, a leap forward in defending the nation's sovereignty. He spoke passionately about the importance of regional cooperation and the need to stand united in the face of growing challenges. These ships, he declared, were more than hardware. They were symbols of trust and friendship. The ceremony was filled with emotion, as both sides recognized the significance of this gesture in strengthening their alliance. The news sent shockwaves worldwide. Headlines blared across continents, and analysts quickly began to speculate on the broader implications for the balance of power in Asia. Foreign ministries scrambled to assess the implications. Governments convened emergency meetings, seeking to understand how this new partnership might affect their own interests and strategies in the region. Japan, long bound by pacifism, was stepping up as a proactive security partner. This marked a significant shift in its post-war stance, signaling a willingness to take on greater responsibility for regional security. The ships, 6 Abukuma-class destroyer escorts, were not sold but granted, elevating the gesture to one of true solidarity. This act of generosity underscored the depth of trust between the two nations. The message was clear: alliances were deepening, and partners were ready to provide real support. The world was witnessing a new era of cooperation, where shared security interests took precedence over old divisions. The region's security landscape had just shifted. As naval patrols intensified and maritime routes were closely monitored, it was evident that this historic pledge would echo across Asia for years to come. This transfer was more than a military deal. It was a historic reconciliation. Once unthinkable, Japanese warships would now sail under a friendly flag in Philippine waters. For Japan, it marked a bold step away from its post-war restraint, embracing a proactive role in regional security. For the Philippines, it was the largest modernization boost in its Navy's history, a tangible sign of resolve and support. The alliance sent a message across Asia. Regional powers could shape their own security future. It was an Asian solution to an Asian problem, inspiring others to seek partnerships beyond traditional power dynamics. The partnership stood as a model for a maturing regional security architecture. From a painful past, a forward-looking alliance was born. The region was watching and taking notes. The warship transfer instantly recalibrated the South China Sea's balance of power. For years, China's naval dominance left smaller states outmatched and vulnerable. Now, 6 capable destroyers gave the Philippines a credible deterrent. The move solidified the Japan-Philippines partnership and signaled to the U.S. that its allies were stepping up. Other Southeast Asian nations saw new possibilities for their own security. Beijing, meanwhile, faced a new challenge. Its strategy of overwhelming force was no longer unopposed. The risks of aggression had risen, complicating China's calculations. The region's security architecture was becoming more resilient and more unpredictable. A new, more complex balance of power was taking shape. The destroyer transfer was a masterstroke, militarily and diplomatically. For the Philippines, it meant a leap in patrol, anti-submarine, and surface warfare capabilities. For Japan, it was a statement of strategic altruism, enhancing its reputation as a reliable partner. The timing at Asia's premier security forum maximized its impact. The move validated Manila's alliance-building strategy and set a precedent for direct military support in the region. Other nations may now follow suit, accelerating modernization through partnerships. This was more than a transaction. It was a catalyst for a new era of regional cooperation. The ripple effects would be felt far beyond the South China Sea. The arrival of the Abukuma-class destroyers marked a true quantum leap for the Philippine Navy, ushering in a new era of maritime capability and ambition. These ships, once the pride of the Japanese fleet, now symbolized a bold step forward for the Philippines, transforming its naval power almost overnight. These multi-role vessels brought with them advanced anti-ship missiles, state-of-the-art anti-submarine warfare systems, and for the first time, genuine blue water operational capability. No longer limited to coastal defense, the Philippine Navy could now operate far from home shores, ready to meet threats head-on. For the first time in its history, the Philippines could project power across its vast maritime domain and defend its vital sea lanes with newfound confidence. This capability was crucial for protecting trade routes and asserting sovereignty over contested waters. The impressive sight of 6 modern destroyers sailing proudly under the Philippine flag would not only boost the morale of the Navy, but also send a clear, unmistakable message to potential rivals and allies alike. The Philippines was ready to defend its interests. Integrating these sophisticated ships into the fleet would require sweeping upgrades across the Navy, modernizing logistics, expanding training programs, and enhancing command and control systems to handle the new technology and operational demands. This challenge would inspire and drive a new generation of skilled officers and sailors, pushing them to master advanced systems and tactics, and fostering a culture of professionalism and innovation within the ranks. These ships were more than just platforms for weapons. they became powerful catalysts for modernization, national pride, and unity, inspiring both the Navy and the nation as a whole. With these destroyers, the Philippine Navy was stepping confidently onto the regional stage as a serious maritime force, ready to participate in joint exercises and contribute to regional security. The transformation was underway, and the world was watching closely as the Philippines redefined its role in the Indo-Pacific maritime landscape. The era of a passive, under-equipped Philippine fleet was over. A new chapter of strength, capability, and determination had begun. The arrival of the destroyers unleashed a wave of national pride in the Philippines. For the armed forces, it was a long-awaited vote of confidence, proof that their sacrifices were recognized. Recruitment and retention soared as the Navy's prestige grew. The Philippines could now participate in regional exercises as an equal, not a junior partner. The nation shifted from security consumer to security provider, inspiring others in Southeast Asia. This morale boost fostered unity and a sense of agency in shaping the region's future. With new strength came new confidence and new responsibilities. The Philippines was ready to meet them. The transfer embodied Japan's new proactive defense policy. No longer content with economic aid alone, Tokyo was investing directly in the region's security balance. By arming frontline states, Japan raised the costs of aggression and strengthened the rules-based order. Its engagement, seen as constructive and low on political strings, made it an attractive partner. The Philippines was just the beginning. Japan's security ties with Vietnam, Indonesia, and others would deepen. This was not remilitarization but maturation. Japan as a responsible stakeholder in regional stability. The free and open Indo-Pacific vision was becoming reality, one partnership at a time. Japan's evolution was reshaping Asia's security landscape. The region's future would be built on cooperation, not coercion. The world was taking notice. The transfer was just the beginning. The real challenge was integration. The Philippine Navy faced a steep learning curve: logistics, maintenance, and advanced training. Japanese advisors would work side by side with Filipino crews, forging deep bonds and shared expertise. Intensive training would build a new generation of skilled sailors and officers. This process would cement an enduring alliance with trust and interoperability at its core. The initiative was a test case for Japan's proactive policy and a matter of national pride for the Philippines. Both nations were committed to making it succeed. The journey would be long, but the foundation was strong. Together, Japan and the Philippines were charting a new course for regional security. The voyage had only just begun.